Today, we're diving into the big ideas from the book, Look Again. We're going to talk about how to reignite that spark in your own life when things start to feel a little, well, gray.
You know that feeling, right? Where you're just going through the motions. Everything is technically fine, but that excitement, that little bit of magic, it just feels like it's faded away. You're definitely not alone in this, and it turns out there's a really fascinating reason why this happens to pretty much all of us.
So to really get this, let's meet two people, Julia and Rachel. On paper, their lives look almost identical. Both are in their mid-50s, both have what you'd call a good life. But here's the difference. Julia feels genuinely happy, while Rachel just finds her life boring. And the secret sauce? It's all in the routine. Julia makes a point to take breaks from hers, which lets her life, as she puts it, re-sparkle. Rachel, on the other hand, is just stuck in a loop. So what is going on here? What's happening inside Rachel's brain that's so different from Julia's? Well, the answer is all about a powerful and kind of sneaky process that puts our brains on autopilot. That process has a name. It's called habituation. And really, it's just our brain trying to be super efficient. When we see or do the same thing over and over again, a song on the radio, our commute to work, even the person we love, our brain starts to go, okay, I've seen this before, no need to pay attention. It saves mental energy, for sure, but the trade-off is huge. It slowly dulls our awareness and our sense of joy. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It completely flips how we think about happiness. I mean, think about your favorite food. If you ate it for every single meal, every single day, would it still be your favorite? No way. The pleasure, the real enjoyment, comes from not having it all the time. That little bit of absence is what makes it feel special. But this whole habituation thing, it's not just about making life a little less sparkly. As we're about to see, living on autopilot can have some serious and honestly pretty dangerous hidden costs. This story is such a powerful illustration of this. You've got this massive, strong elephant that could easily rip a tiny stake out of the ground. But because it was tied to that same stake when it was a baby and wasn't strong enough to escape, it learned its limits. It became habituated to the idea that it was trapped. Now, as an adult, the chains aren't physical anymore. They're all in its head. It just makes you wonder, right? How many of our own limits are just mental stakes we never thought to test? And this idea can scale up from an individual to an entire society, sometimes with absolutely terrifying results. The book uses the example of 1930s Germany. Tyranny didn't just show up one day. It was a slow creep, a series of small changes, each one a little worse than the last. And with each step, people became habituated, desensitized, and the unthinkable slowly, tragically, became normal. On a more personal level, getting too used to something can literally be fatal. Think about a stunt performer who does the same dangerous trick over and over. They get habituated to the risk. They lose that healthy sense of fear and danger. For Joe Burris, that comfort with risk led to one fatal miscalculation. A routine stunt turned into a tragedy. Okay, so that's the problem. And it sounds kind of heavy, I know, but here's the good news. The really good news. There is a powerful solution. We can actively fight back against autopilot by intentionally, purposefully disrupting our routines. We can literally wake our brains back up. And the antidote to habituation is a great word, dishabituation. It's this simple act of shaking things up, introducing something new, something different, that forces our brain out of its comfortable little rut. It's how we make ourselves look again and see the world as if it were the very first time. And here is an amazing countrywide example of this in action. Back in 1967, Sweden switched from driving on the left side of the road to the right. Imagine that. Overnight, the simple automatic act of driving became something that required every ounce of your attention. Drivers were no longer on autopilot. And what happened? In the period right after the switch, traffic accidents dropped dramatically. It's perfect proof of how powerful it is to wake up from a routine. Dishabituation is also the secret ingredient to creativity. For decades, every high jumper did it the same way, jumping forwards. They were habituated to one way of solving the problem. Then along came Dick Fosbury. He looked at it with fresh eyes, completely broke the routine, and invented the backwards Fosbury flop. It probably looked totally weird at first, but it won him a gold medal and changed the entire sport forever. So this is all fantastic, but how do we actually use it in our own lives? Well, let's get into a practical toolkit you can use to start creating that sparkle and awareness every single day. Okay, this first strategy is so interesting and kind of goes against what you might think. For the good stuff in life, like a vacation, the advice is to chop it up. 2 separate 3-day trips give you 2 first days of vacation, which are always the best, right? But for the bad stuff, like chores, you do the exact opposite. Swallow it whole. Get all the cleaning done in one long stretch. Why? Because you let habituation kick in and actually dull the misery. And look, here are some really simple, powerful things you can start doing today. You don't have to quit your job and move across the world. Just rearrange the furniture in your living room. Take a different route to the grocery store and actually notice what you see. Take a weekend or even a whole week off of social media. The goal is just to break the routine in small, totally manageable ways. And that brings us right back to where we started, with Julia. This quote just says it all. The pixie dust, the magic in her life, isn't there because her life is perfect. It's there because she intentionally steps away from it. And that little break allows her to come back and see all the good stuff again. She creates her own sparkle. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. What is one small routine, one thing you do on autopilot every day that you could break? What one little change could you make, even just for tomorrow, to wake up your brain and help your world re-sparkle?